Welcome to Official History World, where history comes alive. Explore the events, empires, and people that shaped our world. Subscribe and be part of our journey through time.
Premium Forever Love necklace to my beautiful love. Buy this necklace, click my YouTube video description product link, and shop now.
Constitutional Conversations is a series of discussions by America's leading scholars about the principles, framing, ratification, and implementation of constitutional government in the United States. This series is hosted by the James Madison Memorial Fellowship Foundation of Alexandria, Virginia.
The Constitution, of course, in its Article 2 establishes an executive power. It says the executive power of the United States shall be larger than the President of the United States. It doesn't say much more about what that means, what this executive power consists of. It has a certain relationship with the legislature. There's a reliance upon advising consent with the Senate with regard to forming treaties and approving appointments to offices or judgeships. But otherwise, it's really a blank slate waiting to be filled in. And it was Washington's task to fill it in. Washington was self-conscious about that task. He was self-conscious as he was in the beginning, wanting to establish precedents and make sure that they were clear and that they adhered to principle. And he was self-conscious in recognizing the need to interpret the Constitution. It was not a self-enforcing, self-interpreting document. It had to be given the flesh and bones that would make it a living experience. So Washington understood that what he would do would be not merely the accomplishment of a policy objective, but the establishment of a constitutional understanding. Give an example. When he goes to the Senate for advising consent with respect to some matters concerning the wars in the Western territories with Indian tribes, he goes with Henry Knox, his Secretary at War. They present to the Senate the concerns that the president has. These are all written out, but they're prepared to go personally and stand there. The Senate receives the document and asks the General Knox and the president to step outside while they deliberate inside. So you must see this picture. Washington is out there cooling his heels, waiting for the greatest deliberative body in the world to figure out what they're going to do and how they're going to interact with him. He finally gives up on this and says, this is nonsense, gets up, turns around, walks away, and never again appears personally before the Senate. Only works through intermediaries and written communications to seek their advice and consent. Well, that was a critical moment because it established what the relationship would be like between the president and the Senate with regard to this question of advice and consent. We see the same thing in acts throughout the Washington administration, particularly the first term, but not absent in the second term, as I mentioned in a previous segment with regard to the Jay Treaty. But in 1793, with the Proclamation of Neutrality, we have another case which became a huge public issue. There, war had broken out in Europe. England and France and allied partners throughout Europe were going to war. And the question is, where would the United States stand? The United States had a treaty of alliance, a mutual defense treaty with France from 1778. And France came to the rescue of the United States in the Revolutionary War. French participation was essential. Rochambeau's army went to Yorktown with the American army to prevail in the final battle of the Revolutionary War. This mutual defense treaty was regarded by some, Thomas Jefferson, for example, as morally obliging the United States to stand with France in its hour of need. But George Washington asked a few serious questions. The first question was, how did this war start? Did France start it? And does our treaty oblige us to go with them to war when they start war and not merely when they're defending themselves? An important question. He also asked this: what condition is the United States in to get embroiled in a European war? Would we in fact imperil our very existence? He thought that it was the case. that we were not in a position to get involved in a war, and that we perhaps did not have a moral obligation to enforce that treaty commitment. So he issued what he called a proclamation of neutrality. He said, we are at peace with all the belligerents. We will take sides with neither one. Well, that launched a firestorm of criticism. So the question was asked, what right does the president have to declare a proclamation of neutrality? The Constitution says it is the Congress that has the right to declare war. Does that not imply also a right to declare peace or neutrality? Well, it was a question that hadn't been decided. Washington decided, taking into account that what he was doing was a matter of constitutional interpretation as well as enunciating a policy. Throughout his administration, and I can go on endlessly with this and I won't do that, but let me say, I think it's important to understand, Washington and his cabinet assembled people who came from different perspectives. They were not all of a single faction or party. You had Hamilton and Jefferson, who were soon at loggerheads with one another. He challenged all his members of the cabinet to give him written constitutional opinion when important questions came up. The question of whether there should be a national bank. There was a constitutional debate. He said, write it down. Give me an opinion. And then he would make a judgment about whether he would sign the bill or veto the bill based on its constitutionality. The conduct of the administration from start to finish was a conscious, deliberate attempt to give meaning to the contours, the outlines of the Constitution of the United States.